Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Moreno Show. I hope you guys are feeling good. So a couple of days ago, I talked about how Gavin Newsom is publishing a brand new show called This is Gavin Newsom. And if you don't remember, I was pretty excited about it. I thought this was a good idea. There's so many people on the right who always criticize the left for never coming to the table. And I'm like, okay, well, at least now we have someone who seems a bit willing. And I was kind of letting go of any sort of bias that I had against him. I wanted to give him, a little bit of grace. But now, guys, I think I was wrong. I really do. And I give myself the permission to change my mind all the time whenever I learn new information or I discover new perspectives or if I just grow and develop a new understanding. I do. But guys, I have never seen anyone flip harder on a topic so quickly. This is crazy. This might have been a colossal mistake on Gavin Newsom and for the Democratic Party at large. But let's go ahead and talk about it. I thought this was a really fascinating point. He sat down with Charlie Kirk to talk about a lot of really, really important topics. But one topic that really stuck was about biological men in women's sports. This did numbers all across social media, getting millions of views. So let's go ahead and watch this clip and then we will talk more about it. Also, if you like having conversations like this, please consider liking and subscribing. It's one of the best ways you could help me out. Okay, let's jump right in.
So like you right now should come out and be like, you know what? The young man who's about to win the state championship in the long jump in female sports,
right.
that shouldn't happen. You as the governor should step out say no.
No, and I appreciate.
But like, would you do something like that? Would you say no men in female sports?
Well, I think it's an issue of fairness. I completely agree with you on that. So that's easy to call out, the unfairness of that.
Okay, so before I play the rest of the clip, I gotta say, like, Charlie Kirk barely pushed him. Charlie Kirk was like, could you call that out? You're the governor of California. Can't you say something? And then boom, instantly flipped. That is crazy. In a single moment, he pretty much abandoned something that the Democratic Party has stood so for. And he's going a new way. And again, this tells us that he does want to. I think this is an expression of him going after the 2028 election. I think this is him trying to capture more of the moderate vote. He's pretty much trying to appeal to more independents. I get it, but now this has just never been clear. But I do think he makes a little bit of a point in the next 20 seconds because he talks about how the Democratic Party is just a little bit more empathetic than Republicans when it comes to topics like this. So check this out.
There's also a humility and a grace. That these poor people are more likely to commit suicide, have anxiety and depression. And the way that people talk down to vulnerable communities is an issue that I have a hard time with as well. So both things I can hold in my hand. How can we address this issue with the kind of decency that I think, is inherent in you, but not always expressed?
So like you right now should come out and be like,
boom. So I do think right there at the end, he was pretty much saying that both things could be true at the same time. It could be true that there is an inadequacy here, there is unfairness here, but at the same time, the way that we have that conversation, the way we address these claims, we could handle it with a little bit more humility and grace. And that's something that the Republican Party is just not really, the Republican parties don't really embrace that well. The Republican Party is not very empathetic in that way, at least with that topic, I should say. But I thought that was a really, really interesting takeaway. And I love Jesse Waters' interpretation of this flip-flop. I thought this was hilarious. But real quick, guys, I uploaded a new newsletter today, and I'm so happy with how this conversation turned out. I talk about the biggest threat to politics, and it's not what you think. It's actually so much worse. So please feel free to go ahead and check that out. It is completely free to sign up, but if you want to become a paid subscriber, if you want to go from being a viewer to an investor in what we're doing, that would means just so much to me. Okay, let's go ahead and check this out from Jesse Waters.
He was a huge UNLV fan. Wore a hat every single day. Remember running Rebels?
Oh, yeah.
1991, undefeated. They get to the championship game. That's right, Larry Johnson. And Duke beats them. Next day, kid comes in with a Duke hat. It was so blatantly obvious this guy's a front runner, and you get a little whiff of that from Newsom. Like, he's obviously trying to pivot here, but it doesn't have to be this blatant. But I have to say something. Yes, I like him. I don't want to like him. I actually hate that I like him, but I met him. I shouldn't have met him. Because when I met him, he was kind of funny. He made fun of him when he went to China and he was running over all.
So there you go. I thought this was hilarious. And again, it kind of speaks to how dynamic this conversation is. It's not necessarily just black or white, like, oh, we hate him, we like him. Like, no, two things could be true at the same time. Gavin Newsom could be a really, really good communicator, but he can also lack a whole lot of substance that moderates might actually have a lot of trouble with, that especially independents are going to critique a lot of. So yeah, I think that is really, really interesting. I also loved seeing this. Fisher King writes, what makes Newsom potentially formidable despite his terrible record in California is that he has no fixed principles at all. Look at this. He's pretty much calling him a shapeshifter right here. He can totally shift on an issue like trans athletes in sports without any embarrassment. One of the reasons he did fine in the debate with DeSantis is that he was comfortable lying through the entire thing. So one question that I have for you guys is, to you, what do you like? Where's the line between someone growing and developing and changing their mind in the future versus someone who is just lying through their teeth? Like, what do you actually need to see here? Because for me, something that I feel like I need to see is I feel like I need to see life change. You know, if you were very hard on one position on the left or very hard on one position on the right, I want to know why. What made you change your mind? Don't just flip-flop. Don't just come to our side just because we're winning now. What I want to know is what happened. Why didn't you speak on this before? Like Gavin Newsom, if you are for this, like, why are you speaking about it now? Like, have you always felt this way? Or are you seeing the data? Are you seeing the polls and are realizing that you are on the losing side of an argument, so you need a flip-flop? Like, look at this. This is on the support and opposition for different policies section. And one of the questions was banning men who have undergone operations and hormones to become women from girls' sports. And guys, look at this. 69% of people are in support of this. That's crazy. Almost 70% of Americans are in agreement here. Now, albeit 50% of Democrats are for that. But guys, 86%, and maybe Gavin Newsom knows that in order to actually win in that seat in 2028, he needs to capture way more than 50%. So again, this is him trying to become a little bit more moderate. That's kind of what I'm capturing a bit. But like, where's the line? Where's the line between growing and developing or seeing the numbers and then straight up changing your mind? I'm genuinely curious on that. Also, check this out. This is actually a legitimate warning coming to us from Canada. This is from Gad Sad. He says, to my dear American friends, beware of Gavin Newsom. He is a slightly smarter version of Justin Trudeau, but he shares in his degenerate, parasitic mind and suicidal empathy. Canada has been destroyed by 9 years of Trudeau. Don't make the same mistake that we did on 3 separate occasions. Save this post. And this is a warning call. Are you kidding me? This guy is completely destroying Gavin Newsom by comparing him to Justin Trudeau. And I love that he shows how empathy, although good, is actually a little bit dangerous because you could weaponize empathy. And that is an interpretation from Gavin Newsom right here. So I do think that was interesting. Go ahead, let me know what your thought is on this. And finally, one of my favorite parts from this interview, chef's kiss. I'm telling you, it was whenever Charlie Kirk brings up RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard whenever Gavin Newsom asks him if there are any Democrats that he likes. This is so funny. Check this out.
Any Democrats you admire out there right now?
Democrats I respect. Oh yeah, I mean, Bobby Kennedy
type?
I respect. Tulsi Gabbard.
Why are you laughing?
So good. I love that. Diversity is our strength. I love that Charlie Kirk, I've never heard this mentioned before, but that he was describing that the Republican Party has an ideological diversity. And I talk about that concept on this channel a lot. I think I just mentioned it in a video yesterday. Like, the quality of conversation that we have are actually incredibly diverse. The thoughts that the Republican Party has right now are way more diverse. If you look at President Trump's cabinet right now, it is so diverse. So many people from all walks of life and different backgrounds, even in different party identifications. This is unreal. And something that I do think was fascinating is, honestly, it does look like Gavin Newsom was taking notes here. It really did seem that he was impacted by these words. And I gotta be honest. This is something that the Democratic Party really, really needs. And I've said it before, like, I'm not a Democrat, but I would love if there were a strong Democrat Party. You want to know why? Because a strong Democrat Party will even make the Republican Party even stronger. It's good for independents. It's good for Republicans. It's good for Democrats. And now, because in that strength, you actually filter out the best possible leaders. And I think overall that is a net positive, not just for the country, but for this world. Anyways, that's what I saw today, and I thought this was fascinating. Really, really good conversation between Gavin Newsom and Charlie Kirk. That you can watch the entire thing on YouTube at This Is Gavin Newsom. It was a little hard to find just because a lot of like commentary channels were popping up, but there's not a whole lot of views on it right now. But you can absolutely find it. But go ahead, let me know what you thought about this conversation. Let me know what you thought about some of the perspectives that we pulled up. And guys, I had a really good conversation today. But let me know what you thought about this in the comment section, and I will see you all next time. Hope you have a great, wonderful day. Episode's over already? Geez, that was fast. Well, they say beautiful things do not last forever, but feel free to watch and listen to another one of these episodes if you're interested in those conversations as well. Also, this next part is huge. Make sure to obliterate that like and subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never skip a beat. I also have a newsletter where we dive into the news, politics, and ideas that shape our future. If you're interested in signing up, I'd really appreciate that. Anyways, that's the end of this episode. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I'll see you next time.